Welcome, biology students, for our final or part 3 for 9.4 Natural Selection Lab. Before we actually start answering the questions, you might want to review these terms: competition, differential reproduction, overproduction, and variation. So when we're talking about competition, that's when there's different traits that animals or any organism can have that can allow them to compete successfully for limited resources. Okay, so they can challenge each other. If there's an overproduction, that means that there's producing offspring that produces more than the environment can support. When there's a variety of traits in a population, that's variation. And when there's differential reproduction, as in when there is a certain amount of, when there are certain traits that allow a certain group of animals to reproduce, then that trait can be passed down based on that particular environment. Okay, so if we go to the lab itself and the worksheet, we are going to be answering these questions right here. Provide a specific example with a virtual lab of each of the parts of Darwin's theory of evolution. So if you remember, if we go to the actual lab, there we go, and we click on the lab here, there we go. Remember that we were playing with different things. We looked at different traits, which showed variety, with the types of fur, types of ears, types of teeth, and hopefully you selected one of those to try out on your own. We looked at when there was snow and the population, and if it just kept increasing, that could be over population where there's so many of the rabbits but no predators to control them so that they can eat everything in sight and then crash. And then also we talked about differential. So when a white rabbit is in white snow and then a wolf comes along, but they also have the dominant trait of the fur, the brown fur, that can actually create a differential reproduction so that you can have white rabbits. Even though the dominant is the brown fur, there can be more white rabbits because they're better camouflaged in that environment. And the last thing is we talked about, differential reproduction, competition, variation, and overproduction. I think we talked about all four. So essentially you're going to just remember the lab that you did and then give examples for each of these particular sections for this theory of evolution as it relates to the lab that you just did. Okay, and good luck.